Hello, and welcome to our channel for another episode about your health. Today we'll discuss the very favorite of all of us. And yeah, I am talking about our sweet dishes and all other ways by which we inject our bodies with sugar clearly more than we need. And more importantly, we will discuss how does sugar affect our brain especially. But before we proceed towards our video, do not forget to like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and do press the bell icon to get notified about the latest videos we come up with. Let's start with our video without any ado, and let's dissect our topic, then explain each one of them one by one. What does the brain use for energy? Why is it so difficult to avoid eating sugary foods? Sugar and depression. What makes sugar addictive? Does giving up sugar meals eases depression? The brain uses more energy than any other organ in the human body, and glucose is its primary source of fuel. But what happens when the brain is exposed to an excessive amount of sugars in the standard diet we use normally? In this case, more is definitely not better. Observing all these delectable meals undoubtedly makes the mouth swim. Why is it so difficult to avoid eating sugary foods? What happens in the brain? A type of chemicals known as carbohydrates are referred to as sugar, and it can be found in a wide range of foods and beverages. Simply read the labels of the sweets you purchase. Sugar comes in a variety of forms, including glucose, fructose, sucrose, maltose, lactose, dextrose, and starch. The same goes for fruit juice, raw sugar, honey, and high fructose corn syrup. Sugar is also added to tomato sauce, yogurt, dried fruit, flavored drinks, granola bars, and other foods in addition to candy and desserts. Sugar is ubiquitous, so it's critical to comprehend how it impacts the brain. How does sugar impact us? Functional connectivity, which connects brain regions with similar functional characteristics, and brain matter are both impacted by high blood glucose levels. The brain may contract or atrophy as a result. Sugar depression. Numerous research has discovered a connection between depressive disorders and sugar-rich diets. Unbalances in a few brain chemicals are brought on by excessive sugar ingestion. These imbalances can cause depression, and in some people, they may even raise their long-term risk of developing a mental health issue. What happens to your brain when you eat sugar? Sugar and efficiency of your brain. There are 5 main things that sugar impact your mental focus. Number 1. Inattentiveness. You are probably aware of the temporary increase in attentiveness we experience after eating anything sweet. After roughly 20 minutes, our glucose levels will begin to decline, making us feel unfocused and susceptible to distraction. Number 2. Mood crash. Sugar can temporarily increase our attentiveness while also boosting our mood. This effect is transient, much like the one mentioned before. Dopamine causes the crash, which is characterized by sluggishness, irritation, and apathy after the increase. This neurotransmitter, which regulates our brain's reward and pleasure centers, is disturbed and thrown off balance by sugar. Number 3. Memory problems. Sugar may not only impair our cognitive functioning, but may also impede memory receptors. This could significantly affect your performance when you consider how crucial it is to learn new knowledge and resolve issues at work. A high sugar intake and Alzheimer's disease have also been linked in U.S. studies. Number 4. High amounts of stress. Stress is associated with overeating and weight gain for a reason. Many of us reach for comfort food, the majority of which are high in sugar. When we're under stress, we then enter a vicious cycle because of the additional stress brought on by realizing we are consuming unhealthy foods. Snacks high in serotonin, a neurotransmitter that helps to stabilize our mood, are what we actually need. Swap walnuts, avocados, and blueberries for sugar. Number 5. Changes in personality. Vitamin B and chromium are 2 essential molecules that our bodies use to control our emotions. Unusual episodes of irritation and violence can, unfortunately, result from high sugar levels blocking these naturally balanced molecules. Substitute kale, rocket, a type of salad, kimchi, and natural yogurt for sugar. Does consuming a small amount of sugar increase your need for more? Or in other words, is sugar addictive? You bite into your cereal, the sweet taste receptors, which are a component of the tongue's taste buds, are activated by the sugars in it. These receptors provide a signal to the highest center of the brain: bitter, salty, umami, and in our case, sweet sensations are processed by various parts of the cerebral cortex. The signal then turns on the brain's reward system. This reward system is a part of the brain that appreciates you if you are doing something that you feel is good, like in this case, anything sweet. Should I repeat that? When you taste grandma's chocolate cake, do you ever get that warm, fuzzy feeling? Your reward system is nodding in agreement with that, and food doesn't function alone to trigger it. A few examples of actions and events that also trigger the reward system include socializing, engaging in sexual activity, and using drugs. However, overusing this reward system causes a number of unfavorable outcomes, including loss of control, cravings, and elevated sugar tolerance. Returning to our cereal mouthful now. It descends into your stomach before making its way in your gut. And what's this? There are also sugar receptors in this area. Although they are not taste buds, they do communicate with your brain to let it know when you are full or when more insulin is needed to process the more sugar you are eating. Dopamine, whose other name is the happy hormone, is a crucial molecule or neurotransmitter and the main currency of our reward system. The forebrain contains a large number of dopamine receptors. However, they are not distributed equally. Our reward system is based on dopamine hotspots, which are regions with concentrated concentrations of receptors. Drugs like alcohol, nicotine, or heroin cause dopamine to go into overdrive, which causes some people to get addicted to that high. Although not as dramatically as drugs, sugar also triggers the release of dopamine. And among foods that release dopamine, sugar is uncommon. For instance, broccoli has no impact, which likely explains why it's so challenging to encourage kids to eat their vegetables. Can giving up sugar ease depression? It has been discovered that eating a diet high in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can lower inflammation in the body. Healthy consumption of natural sugar sources may lower your risk of developing depression from inflammatory illnesses, since severe inflammatory disorders have been connected to depression. Let's imagine you decide to have a balanced dinner because you're hungry and we're talking about healthy meals. Dopamine levels rise in the reward system hotspots as a result of your actions. However, if you repeatedly consume the same food, your dopamine levels will gradually decrease and then level off. That's because the brain has evolved to pay particular attention to novel or distinctive flavors when it comes to food. Why? First, in order to identify spoiled food. Second, eating a varied diet increases the likelihood that we will consume all the nutrients we require. We need to be able to identify new meals, and more significantly, we need to be motivated to continue trying new things in order to maintain the variety. And for this reason, as a food gets boring, the dopamine levels drop. I'll get to that food now. What happens if you choose to eat a sugar-rich meal instead of the balanced, healthful one? The result is comparable to a balanced meal if you consume little sugar or small amounts of food at a time. However, the dopamine reaction does not balance out if you consume too much. In other words, consuming a lot of sugar will still seem satisfying. Sugar acts much like a drug in this way. It's one of the causes of why people have an addiction to sweet foods. So, consider all of those distinct sugars. Each one is different, but whenever any sugar is taken, it sets off a chain reaction in the brain that makes us feel good. Thanks for watching this. If you liked it, so don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. And do press the bell icon to get notified about our latest work that we come up with.